Welcome to a special edition of Gospel Truth with Andrew Wommack. This week, Andrew is joined by the creators of The Heart of Christmas, Robert and Elizabeth Muren. Together, they'll share insights and stories that highlight the true meaning of Christmas. We at Andrew Wommack Ministries wish you a Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year.
Welcome to our Thursday's broadcast of the Gospel Truth. This is a very special broadcast. For the last 2 weeks, I've had Robert and Elizabeth Muren on my programs with me. They are just such a blessing. And any of you that have ever taken advantage of their musicals will just love everything that they do. But they are, let's see, what do you do here? You run the film and production part. You're over all of our audio, video stuff. You do
all the content creation.
And decorations and a multitude of other things.
Yes. Marketing.
Just whatever needs to be done. They are a blessing. And anyway, if you've missed any of the background story on them, it's really a miracle how they got here. But last week we were talking about our Christmas musical entitled
Heart of Christmas.
The Heart of Christmas. We got so many things we were talking about, I forgot. But anyway, The Heart of Christmas, we talked about that all last week. And then we are talking about some of the many musicals we did. We talked about John the Baptist in that one. And we've talked about In God We Trust and playing some scenes from that.
God with us.
Or excuse me, God with Us.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And today, I want to talk about In God We Trust, because this is one of our patriotic things that we do every July the 4th. And I tell you, it's powerful. And I'm amazed because, you know, the most patriotic things that I think I've ever been a part of are by people who weren't born in America. And here you are from Norway, Honduras, and you're from all over.
All over. Cuba.
And they put together one of the most patriotic things, and it's based primarily around Fort McHenry and the assault that was on it. And I tell you, during this performance, it is just powerful. And I remember this last July the 4th when you performed it. Normally, I'm just sitting there belting out all of these patriotic songs, and I was touched so much that I couldn't even sing. I couldn't hold it together enough to sing, but it is just so powerful. God has blessed this nation. This is a nation that was established by God, and even though we've strayed so far from Him, I don't believe He's forsaken us yet.
Amen.
I believe the best is yet to come.
Yeah, I believe that this nation was created by God with a purpose. I truly believe that, and I think that the best is yet to come. We're going to see that happen. I think the most important thing is that we remember that we are grounded enough. God with His people, He will always command them to make remembering sites, or how do you call this?
Landmarks.
Yes. And He was also very, very strong on celebrating the feasts, to remember, because when we forget, you know, every time, you know, history repeats itself is because we forget. We forget where we come from. We forget why we were established. America is just a gift from God, and I grew up in all different parts of the world, and I always remember looking at America and all the movies and everything, and I was always so amazed by you know, so much godliness. Of course, there is also very much ungodliness, but you know, the principles, this is the land of the free and the brave, you know, that's why the enemy tries to steal that away from us.
I believe as, I forgot which president it says, but anyway, we are the last best hope of mankind for freedom. And if America goes down, it's not going to be good. And we're making this prior to our recent election, so I can't say which way they went based on, you know, hindsight. But I tell you, I believe that this was probably the most critical election that we've ever had. And I just pray that things worked out in a godly way, because really we are fighting for the heart and the soul of this nation. And it's really good. So one of the things about this musical, In God We Trust, is it's talking about the attack on Fort McHenry. And you were saying something about if we ever forget where this nation came from. Most people in this nation have forgotten. And this is the reason that during the last few years we've seen people burning flags, kneeling at the national anthem, not respecting it because they don't recognize the price that was paid. And this musical, In God We Trust, really drives that point home when it starts showing the attack on Fort McHenry and how these people would literally prop the flag up with their own body. And it's dramatic what you portrayed.
And I just, you know, no matter what happens in this country or who are the people ruling, I just know that our responsibility is to stand. Our responsibility is to keep that flag flying, and that's what happened in Fort McHenry.
Fort McHenry.
Yes, and
let me give a little background.
Yes.
Most people don't know this, but did you know it was just 1 month before the attack on Fort McHenry that the British had conquered Washington and burned the White House and Congress. And basically America was running for its life. And this was a fort that protected the harbor, and if they had gotten in there, they basically would have subdued all of us, and this experiment in freedom that began at our revolution would have been over in 1814. But because those people stood and refused to lower the flag, which the British said if they'll just lower the flag and surrender, that we won't exact any more death on them. And they refused. And some people would think, well, it wasn't worth it. But this nation exists today because some people just refused to quit.
And what they did,
awesome.
They countered the political power of the day.
Absolutely.
And they countered the political regime of the day. But understanding that it was wrong, that King George, or whoever ruled later on there, was exerting power that was unjust, and that they had unalienable rights and right to freedom
by God,
given by the Creator. They fought and stood the ground, and it was a price to pay. And it was like decades before the revolution fully got fulfilled, until the British were stopped in a sense. But they recognized that these values and these principles are eternal. This is not something that any government can give us. This is God-given freedoms, God-given rights, and they dared to kind of stand on it and stand for it and fight for it.
And that is why we create, these musicals full of truth. And this one especially to remind us Americans, to stand and to do what we can where we are. And I just believe that there will be a time in this nation where we need to make a stand, and we need to stop being so passive. Or so many times we see the walls of Jericho metaphorically, and we say, wow, it's too tall, we're never going to win. When we see issues like abortion, and it's so easy to think, I'll give up because I will never win. But that's the problem. The problem is that we don't have a choice. We need to stand, and we need to fight for what is right, no matter what is going on right now. In the beginning of January, our responsibility is to stand with the truth of God, and He will honor it.
I think some people, if they knew they were going to win, might stand and fight. But if they don't know for sure how it's going to go, they just don't want to put themselves out on that limb. But we've got to stand for right. It doesn't matter. A lot of people will judge, should I do this, based on whether they think it's going to work and produce a positive results. But we already talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They stood regardless of whether God would deliver them. Daniel did the same thing. And our job is to just stand for truth. I think it was John Quincy Adams that said, duty is ours, results are God's.
Wow.
We just have to do the right thing. And then regardless of how it turns out, that's up to God. But we have a responsibility to do the right thing.
And that's the amazing thing with these musicals or these stories, because it really encourages people to understand that this is my responsibility too, and they get inspired. And I think that we just need to get inspired to do the right thing.
And so let's play a little clip from this In God We Trust. And this is about the shelling of Fort McHenry and how they stood and just refused to give up. And it was really the turning point in the War of 1812. And if it hadn't have been for this, we would have all been British subjects, I guess, in America. So anyway, this is really important. Let's watch this and we'll be right back.
Admiral, we must negotiate safe passage for these men.
Mr. Key, we have ourselves a slight problem. I cannot allow you and your men to leave just yet. We still honor our commitment to release these men, rest assured. But it will be a mere technicality after tonight.
What do you mean?
Mr. Key, tonight we have laid an ultimatum upon your colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors of your continental flag, or... Do you see that fort? Fort McHenry, is it? We will remove it from the face of the earth.
And how do you intend to do that?
Scan the seaward horizon, Mr. Key. That's the entirety of His Majesty's war fleet, and all of its firepower is being brought to bear upon that fort. It will be in range for bombardment within hours. The war is over, Mr. Key. These men are free, regardless of our negotiations.
You cannot shell that fort. That is not just a military installation. There are women and children in there.
Fear not. We are not merciless, Mr. Key. We have left them a way out.
And what is that?
You see that flag way up on that rampart? We have told if they would lower that flag, the shelling will stop at once, and we would know they have surrendered, leaving all of you under British rule.
As twilight fell, the bombardment began. The full might of the Royal Navy unleashed upon Fort McHenry.
Francis, what is happening? Oh, say, can you see?
It's still up. The flag is still up.
Your people are mad, Mr. Key. What is the matter with them? Do they not see the direness of their predicament? Why haven't they lowered the flag?
The thing that sets the American Christian apart from all other people in this world is he would rather die on his feet before he lives on his knees.
We have instructed our guns to focus on that rampart for the next 3 hours. That flag will fall.
3 hours passed. Every time a bomb exploded near the flag, it lit up, illuminated by the fires raging below it. Onlookers later described the scene as a fireworks display. But there was something the British did not understand. Their reconnaissance told them that the flagpole had suffered repeated direct hits, and yet it still flew. Hour after hour, every time the haze cleared, that flag remained, fluttering defiantly over the fort.
Our flag has sustained a vicious onslaught, and it can only be said that the power of the Almighty is working on our behalf.
Yes, it is.
It is a miracle, and I ask only that you pray for our brothers and sisters, that God will grant them the strength that they need to keep that flag flying where we last saw it.
Yes. So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Man, I love that. That's just powerful. And that's the spirit that God put in our forefathers that caused this nation to exist. And I see there's a want of that same kind of an attitude. Most people just will not stand up and fight. I've heard a statistic that there's 30 to 40 million born-again Christians who've not even registered to vote. in the United States. And of course, by the time this program is seen, that's already past us. But if conservatives didn't win, shame on American Christians. Christians are the ones who did. If the conservatives did win, well, then it would be the Christian vote that made the difference.
Yeah.
But it's still, abstaining from kind of going in and taking a stand and being the salt in the earth today. It's enormously important to mobilize believers to actually not just live in a spiritual kind of bubble, but actually till the garden and do the land well.
And let me say that, I came home from Vietnam, and they actually made us change into civilian clothes because people were spitting on soldiers returning from Vietnam, and they were calling us baby killers and stuff. And I personally didn't deal with that. When I got there, my church group met me with big signs, welcome home. So I didn't experience that, but there was a fear about that happening. So anyway, as a result, I was never honored or anything for that. But at the end of this program, after you've done the whole thing, you start singing patriotic songs. And one of the things you do is sing the song of each branch of our government. And you have the people who served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, whatever. You have them stand as their song is sung and wave flag. And I tell you what, that just blesses me. And people start clapping, and it's awesome. I remember the very first time you ever did that, there was an older guy, and I don't know how old he was, but he was having trouble standing up on his own. And when it came time for him to stand, he tried, but he couldn't, and the people around him got him and held him up. And he was just standing there crying as the song for his branch of government was played, and it just touched me. It's so powerful.
Yeah, and I think that no matter what is happening in our country right now, God is God. And I think that we are to be His children, and we have to stand and we have to fight. And one of the main things I would like to say is, as this year begins, is do not let fear drive your life.
Amen.
Do not let fear enter, because the enemy wants to paralyze you by making you afraid. It doesn't matter who is ruling. It doesn't matter what is happening. Of course, there may be challenges, but God is God, and through Him we are more than conquerors.
It really doesn't matter who won the elections in November. We are going to have turmoil in this nation.
Yep.
Any way it goes, because it has become so divided that the other side's not going to just all of a sudden submit.
Right.
So there's going to be some hard times, and it's only faith in the Lord that's going to get us through that. It's not a political solution.
No.
It will involve politics, but I tell you, this is a spiritual battle. It's light versus dark.
And this is the land of the free and the land of the brave. And if there is one thing the enemy is trying to steal from us, is exactly that, is our freedom, and is making us fearful. So I would just say that, anchor your life in the Word of God, in the promises of God, and you will live a supernatural life no matter what is happening around you.
I think it's important. I'm not American, yet. Actually, I submitted my application a few days ago. But coming from Norway, living other parts of the world, to come to America and actually learn and understand what are the founding ideas. Because there's been thousands of years of systems of government and kingdoms and all kinds of things. But America represents a form of governance that is established on principles of the Word of God. That is the uniqueness. And we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights that cannot be separated from us. It was never given by government, it cannot be taken away by government.
Amen.
But it's not just American values, these are universal values that apply to anyone in China today, or North Korea, or in secular Europe. It is God's values that are at the core of this. So to me, the flag of America today doesn't represent just the United States of America. To me, it represents faith.
Amen.
A confession of faith and a proclamation of who God is. So to me, America is an expression of God in our time.
You are more patriotic than most Americans.
I am.
You are, and you love this country. And
Yes.
Elizabeth found out that she had a green card, and so she has now become a U.S. citizen. And
I was a citizen from birth, but I didn't know it.
Yeah,
She already got it, but she didn't know it.
that's right. And so anyway, what a blessing you guys are. Anyway, we've run out of time today, but I hope that you will listen to our announcer and take advantage of this offer. We're offering many of these different musicals, performances to you, and I promise you every one of them would impact you in a positive way. So listen to our announcer as he gives you some information, and please call or write today.
Thank you for watching today's program. To learn more about the topics discussed on today's broadcast, be sure to visit our website at awmi.net/Muren. While there, you'll find more information as well as exclusive content that's available to watch anytime. Join us again tomorrow as Andrew continues interviewing Robert and Elizabeth Muren. Andrew's complete series, Christmas with the Murens, is available as a CD album, TV DVD album, or as a USB made from our daily television broadcast. Each of these valuable resources are available for a gift of any amount when you contact us. Also available is a special DVD gift package that includes 4 inspiring musicals: The Heart of Christmas, God With Us, David, King of Jerusalem, and In God We Trust. Don't miss out on this wonderful holiday gift offer. You can become a Grace Partner through our website at awmi.net. While there, you can discover more product details and download additional free resources. You can also order resources or receive prayer by calling our helpline at 719-635-1111. To write us, use the address on your screen.